guys, welcome back. It is episode 67. Obviously one more than 66, one less than 68. But of course tonight we have another amazing couple of guests to introduce to you guys. Firstly, I want to know, what are you drinking at home and are you planning to go out this weekend and where are you going? Now, the two guests that I want to introduce you to tonight have come about because something that's really obviously passionate for us is the Adelaide Hills Mediterranean varieties, but also just in general quality wine. And there are really only a handful of wine producers that I could absolutely say and actually put our brand on the line and say that these producers are definitely not just ones to watch, but ones that are making incredible waves, especially in the wine industry. And if you haven't actually heard of their brand, you're either going to anyway of your own volition, because eventually you're going to hear about them. And if you don't know, you should know. And of course, I'm talking about Main and Cherry Wines. This is Mike Sexton and Daniella.
Thanks for having us up.
No, thank you very much for coming on up. Now, Mike, we met, when did we meet? We must have met in 2012, 2013. Yeah. And like your namesake with Main and Cherry Wines, it is literally on Main and Cherry Road.
Yes, correct.
Isn't it? We
didn't know in today about that.
So, how did you get started into wine?
So yeah, I guess Dad planted the vineyard. It was a bit of a sort of hobby for him back in 1996. Used to be a strawberry farm up in Cherry Gardens. It's a pretty small plot, so it's only about sort of 10 acres. After that's under vine. They put that in when I was in high school. Yeah. And
right. So Adelaide born and bred.
Yeah. So yeah, you're busy man. So
I ran out of 4X gold, so I'm sorry.
Just sort of grew up, tending to vineyard on the weekends, and I guess I sort of figured, well, what am I going to do? I didn't really want to go into an office job. Loved wine. Wine was always around the table on a weekend. Sundays we grew up with a lot of named Brusco.
Really?
Yeah, classy drink back in those days in the 90s. Yeah, so and then studied at university, went through Adelaide Uni, and fell in love with it along the way.
So how is it, obviously, from growing up with a vineyard to growing up, and for us, I didn't have a vineyard growing up or anything like that. Do you become a lot more passionate about the wines that are being made in the cellar because of that? Do you think? Do you think you give a lot more control over it?
Yeah, it makes you realise where the quality comes from. It's all about the vineyard. So it really does. Yeah. Even those really small things, you just go, yeah, it's so much, 90% is.
How big is the vineyard?
So that's 5 acres, so pretty small. And then
right.
I live over near Clarendon with Kirsty, my partner, and we've got another 10 there. So it's pretty small, like those two estate-grown vineyards, but then we sort of work with other growers to get a source.
Because I mean, 5 acres you can't get an awful lot of fruit off, but you can get some really good quality fruit, of course, because obviously if it's small enough for you to be out, and 5 acres, look, not kidding, 5 acres is not exactly small either. Like if you've ever go out and look at a field and have a look at 5 acres, you very quickly realise that if you were to farm that yourself, it is still a lot of work. But that's one of those sort of amazing things with wine, because if you're paying attention to that singular plot time and time again. I mean, there are places in France where 5 acres would run you up about 50, just to buy the land, especially with ones with vines on them. But forgive me, would you like a glass of wine?
Yes, that's why we're here.
Now you've brought an awesome blind tasting wine, and we thought we'd get straight into it because there are a bunch of wines to actually try tonight. Some really exciting sort of experimental new things that I'm just really I'm amped. I heard about them, and there's one variety in particular that I'm just like dying to see. Is it Adelaide Hills as well?
Two Adelaide Hills whites and a McLaren Vale red. So yeah, fresh off the boat.
Very, very, very excited.
Hello, this is God speaking. Since we're not going into black glasses tonight, white or red, Brendan?
White. Oh yeah.
Just out of pure intuition.
It's white. Oh no! I tried to use the force. All right, so straight into the comments. Justin, Kerry, Yuko, Christina, Terry, thanks for joining us. Addy, thanks for chiming in from Austria. Good morning. Saw Mike on Young Gun of Wine Stream the other week. Right, well, it's good to see you again.
Thank you.
Definitely keen to drop by on an Adelaide trip when all this is over. Tell us about the Young Gunner wine stuff that's going on. What's
I
going on
thought I'd enter that before losing too much more hair. So no, it was great. Yeah, really good exposure. So I think we featured up Pinot Meunier the other night with Rory. Again, just showcasing Adelaide Hills. Even though we sort of hang out in both regions, we sort of dangle our boots across the border in McLaren Vale as well. But it's just a great project to be involved with. Young Gun, great exposure. Yeah,
I think it's really good for if you haven't heard, there's an amazing competition called Young Guns of Wine. And it's to showcase these sort of young brands or sort of young mentalities with being a lot more innovative. I think you're like a dead ringer, because to reiterate that the quality of the wines that since you first released have just kind of skyrocketed, and they already started at a really high point as well, which is incredible. It's like not resting on your laurels and continually questioning and getting yourself to do a lot better every single year. But like Young Guns of Wine we have in the last decade had such a proliferation of new brands that have really artisan brands. The artisan movement is global, and it's definitely affected wine in the same way. So to do pretty well in Young Guns of Wine, you have to be next level, right? Like it is pretty cool to see some of the stuff that and your name is definitely well deserving up there. Do you reckon you're gonna win?
I don't know about that. I'm just stoked to be involved with it. But look, I've got to definitely give credit to Danny as well, because I think since Danny's been with me, the wines have just been getting better. So yeah.
So where have you come from, Danny?
Tuscany, close to Montalcino.
Just up the road from Adelaide.
Very similar though. When I was driving up here, I told him it's just different trees, but
that's
the
hilarious.
sweet hill is very.
That is gold. Most people get up here, and by the time they're ready to actually click on the live button, they're squeamish and their stomach. You must have been loving it. You're like, yeah, this is too easy. Which road did you go up? Did you go up the freeway?
No, we went scenic.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yep.
Yeah,
so we saw some camels on the way, and some,
you saw camels?
Past the wildlife park in.
Oh wow, yeah,
just like Tuscany.
You really did the scenic route. Yeah. It is actually incredible. You talk about the trees. When we go overseas, and you definitely go to wine regions outside of the obvious things, vines and wine regions, we typically notice trees. And we do have a really weird landscape in reference to the rest of the world. Like we don't have a lot of pine trees, or some areas around here. We don't have a lot of cypress trees, which is what you see quite often in Ghana. But I tell you what, I was in Campania, and we were up near Avellino, and there was freaking eucalyptus trees, and I was thrown completely out of whack. Yeah, I didn't know what was going on. Then we went to Sicily, and there was more eucalyptus trees. Yeah. I'm like, it's just taken over. It's completely taken over. I was felt out of space. So it was a massive eucalyptus tree, actually, big stringy bark.
Same in Peru when I was there. I was like, what's this? It's plantations. Timber.
For timber, eucalyptus, obviously hardwood timber, and then of course in California they go and do it, and they're like, oh, we didn't realize they catch on fire. Apparently that's the thing. It's like, they do, they definitely catch on fire. So what brought you out here? What's
Oh, I have worked in Tuscany for a few years. I studied in Italy and worked there, and then I wanted to see what Australia was making. It's one of the best country outside, I would say, Italy.
Outside, that's absolute fair call.
See what was going on here, and I saw there are a lot of Mediterranean variety here. So I moved. First, I moved to Edinburgh to study English because I couldn't speak a word of English.
So get this: the Italian moves to Scotland to learn English. Like, have you seen those internet memes of like Scottish people on like a telephone sort of voice thing, where it's like you have to like speak into the telephone to do the options and stuff like that. Press 1 for it's like say yes for, say no for, and they're like, no, we did not recognize that. So what was that like? Is it like to learn English? Do you struggle with the pronunciation of things?
Oh, I struggle a lot because I left Italy that I couldn't speak. I went in a school basically 8 hours per day for 2 months, and then I stayed basically for 2 years, and
because it was warmer.
Was warmer, definitely.
Except for Gamaraka. Gamaraka sits in this tiny little spot inside Australia that's just eternally cold. I assure you.
That's beautiful.
It is very beautiful. It's very beautiful. So obviously very talented with what you're doing. How's your involvement with Main and Cherry? What are your?
Oh, I was basically I was traveling through Australia and I stopped here for the 2007 vintage, and I saw he was looking for someone.
Yep.
And I love to be in small winery because I feel more involved, and I've always worked in small winery where I can see from vineyard until the end of the product, like just to be involved in everything. And I think you get at the end with a little bit more passion because you can really put and involved in it.
Totally, absolutely, and that's one thing that you know, because it's one thing a lot of people will go and do vintages, like overseas, and you know, I know there's a couple of friends of mine that have done this before, where I think they've done a vintage in I think it's New Zealand, South Africa, and maybe somewhere in Europe, like France or Italy or Spain or something like that. And because you can do 3 a year, you can just keep going around and doing this, but you only do that harvest period, the vendemmia. You only actually do that one thing. You don't actually see the wine into bottle. And a lot of people don't realize the amount of work that, I mean, there's lots of work that goes into all of it, but ignoring basically from the moment it's finished fermentation and the entire process of élevage, the entire process of racking, and that takes character. Honestly, because it's really cool to see like grapes come in, crush them, and do pump overs, and just like get dirty. And it's like going to the mines and having a lot of fun. It takes next level character to go into a cellar really early in the morning, in the middle of winter, and start racking. So basically, racking means getting taking a lot of the clarified wine as the yeast settles out off the yeast lees. To continue to clarify it out, or for whatever reason there might be other cellar operation, like getting air into it or something like that, or barreling down and then having to monitor barrels. Especially in Australia, have you found any spiders anywhere?
Oh
Yeah, they're everywhere. That was
spiders are okay, moths and butterflies.
I get
just
crazy.
phobia.
So.
Oh yeah.
I'm actually not really against that. Moths are really not nice.
Yeah, have you seen Godzilla?
Yeah, Mothrak.
Godzilla, I didn't realize. I watched the latest one recently, and there's extra animals now. It used to always just be a giant dinosaur. Next minute there's a giant moth, and there's like a centipede thingo. But we've got a wine here. We've got this is the blind tasting wine. Obviously red, super vibrant,
isn't it?
Super vibrant color, super vibrant smell. This is really good fun. This is like confected red territory. This is where I like to live. You know, this is where I like to drink.
Jumps out the glass, doesn't it? Yeah. So how's this game work?
Well, have you played options before?
You guys know what the wine is.
We do, yeah.
Noah's going to play option. I'll put the comments down.
Oh yeah, I'll play options. That's easy.
I'm going to put the options down. No one knows what the wine is. Going to let everyone know.
Alrighty.
Fire.
Fine. New World, Old World.
This is New World.
It is New World.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going into Chile?
Mm-hmm.
Argentina?
Mm-hmm.
Australia?
Australia.
It's Australia. I'm trying to throw a few
really
curveballs.
good, but like it could have easily been Argentina as well. Like it's just a vibrancy, a fruit, and acidity, and weight.
And we've had some Chilean wines that kind of similar like this on the show. But yeah, this is cool. Are we going to WA, New South Wales, South Australia?
Definitely not New South Wales. Not reductive enough.
Sorry, Hunter Valley.
You've just lost half your listeners.
I know, that's it. They're all just going to go, no, but this is a bit of a thing. It's like, this is a wine that I really like, the wine styles that like we aim to craft at Unico as well. So it's like, this is really addictive juice.
Bang on.
Yeah, this is so good.
Yep.
It could easily be WA. But I've not seen a wine handled like this out of WA, where it's like this is seeing the whole hog. So it's I'm saying, if I were to see a wine out of this out of WA, it would have been like full hardcore, like natty. They would have done the whole works to it by now. Whereas
Okay.
in South Australia, you see the full spectrum, and you see there is like a deft hand has been used on this wine. Someone's actually they could have gone the full way, and they decided to just take it back a notch and go, let's make really delicious wine and not kind of like
Craft wine.
Craft wine. This is great craft wine. This is artisan wine. It's a wine you want to drink. Yeah.
It's flippant delicious.
Yeah, it is.
It's outrageously tasty. It is outrageously tasty.
It's phenomenal.
So this is one of the wines that I was stockpiling during COVID crisis.
This is a good panic wine.
This is a panic buy wine. Yeah.
Stupidly good prices. I don't know how he makes them for the prices that he retails.
How much is this?
Yeah.
I think on his website it was $20. Yeah. So but yeah,
Value.
Most of his wines at $15 to $25. Like just stupidly offering.
All right.
So yeah. No,
Please tell me. That narrows it down pretty quickly for me though.
Does it?
That is delinquent.
Well, have you? So you're going South Australia?
I'm going South Australia.
You're going South Australia.
I can see that.
Cool. Yeah, it's not. It's actually a pretty educated guess. So you're an educated man.
No, it's usually not so giving of compliments that way. Thank you.
Okay, so Riverland, Barossa Valley, McLaren Vale.
The only reason that it wouldn't be a delinquente, that it doesn't taste like Nero. Kind of doesn't taste like Montepulciano either. It does taste a little bit like. I thought immediately my first reaction to it was Syrah. I thought it was like
Really good Adelaide Hill Syrah.
Really good Adelaide Hill Syrah, and obviously you didn't even include that. Could be really good like McLaren Vale, could be feels Grenache. Is it a straight variety?
Yep.
Yes.
It is. Yeah. I think it's Grenache. I think it's McLaren Vale.
It is from the Barossa Valley.
Yeah, right. Yeah, wow.
Is this Grenache, Mataro, Graciano?
It's Grenache.
It's Graciano.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's the best Graciano I've had ever.
It's the best one I've had ever.
It's banging, isn't it?
It's
so,
amazing.
So easy, so fresh, vibrant, just so down.
So, do you know the story of Graciano? How it actually got its name? Have you?
No, lead me in.
Yeah. So this is actually really, and I have no idea. I have no idea whether this is complete bollocks or this is like the legit truth. But apparently, Spanish farmers, they had like their Grenache, Tempranillo, and their Graciano. And Graciano.
It's a really fun grape variety to say.
And they would every year the big sort of cooperatives and other wineries would come by and they'd buy those grapes, and they would beg them to take this other grape variety that was just a pain in the bum to grow, but they grew it anyway, and they're like, look, if you could take it for us, that would be great. And when they took it, they would say, gracias. And then they're like, it's the grateful wine, basically the wine that they're just kind of glad to not have.
Yeah, right.
Apparently, this is the story, and I think that was told to us by Johann Henschke.
It's got some merit.
And I'm like, maybe don't tell that story when you make Graciano. No, apparently that's it. But the qualities in the glass, that is like guaranteed stockpiling wine, no doubt. Producer, Barossa producer that sits in that price category, I am like mind boggles.
I'll give you 3.
Okay.
Whistler.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Spinifex.
This doesn't feel like a Spinny's wine.
Sharky.
Ooh.
The eyes light up.
Ooh, Sharky.
It's Sharky.
That is amazing. I haven't had a Sharky one in a while. And that is like shame on me.
Yeah.
Seriously, that is amazingly good.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah.
Have you seen his cellar?
Only on Instagram, but it is,
You know he built that himself?
Okay. No,
It literally has an amazing, if you go through Sharky's, so he's got this underground cellar. And he's just one of those, like, Aussie get-it-done dudes, right? And there's if you kind of like scroll down to when he was building this, it was quite a few years ago. I'm sure he's got it on his Facebook videos or something. And he's in a bobcat, and he's just like, jigging out the hole. And it's just, he dug out an underground cellar, massive thing.
And so much large formats in there,
Like I've never, outside of Italy, I don't think I've ever actually seen a cellar like that in Australia. and he just kind of flies under the radar a fair bit.
Yeah.
Guys, have you tried much sharky wines before? I want to know. This is tasty. Mango fruit as well, like.
Yeah.
Like,
I
that
guess,
is
you know,
phenomenal.
I think he's a 5th generation grower, so he probably
Gotta
knows
know
how
his
to
shit.
do a thing
Yeah.
or two with the vineyard. But yeah, I don't know how he produces it so cheap, but yeah, full kudos. Like, he's doing amazing stuff. Yeah.
I'm fine, thanks.
Yeah, wow. So, are you gonna start producing Graciano now?
No, that's no interlude. That was just. Yeah. No,
Laura,
I think-
grab a glass. Do you want a glass? One of these ones? Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Noah, are you on it?
I'm
You've got it. You need top up. I wouldn't surprise me. No, he's good. See, oh wow, yeah, that is.
I don't
that's
know
amazing.
any Adelaide Hills Graciano. I know there's Art Wine that are doing some, I think, Clare Valley stuff.
Clare Valley
but,
stuff, and they've got an amazing vineyard up in Clare Valley.
Samuel's Gorge do something in McLaren Vale as well.
Yep.
Samuel's Gorge, yeah, absolutely fair, but not really.
Yeah,
not really in the hills. Like those varieties in the hills are few and far in between. A lot of Spanish varieties are few and far in between, to be fair, which is a bit odd. But we've seen what, say, Grenache does in the hills, and it's sort of not. Have you, being from Toscana, have you tried? Name escapes me. Elisabetta Foradori has a concern in Tuscany called Ampelaya.
Ampelaya.
Yeah.
Ampelaya.
Ampelaya. There you
Yeah.
go. Ampelaya. So she does Alicante,
Yeah.
which is a 100% whole bunch Grenache. You know, because it's a synonym, same name, sorry, different name, but the same grape. But Alicante in Tuscany literally is Grenache. And we're not so dissimilar of a climate in some spots in the Adelaide Hills. But I was fascinated. So we actually did that with some Adelaide Hills Grenache. I mean, it's borderline Adelaide Hills. It's Kersbrook.
Is this a Mardi?
It's a Mardi vineyard. Turned out really well. Actually, turned out really, really well. We just couldn't get like reliable supply of the fruit every single year, so it was kind of like a really, really sort of annoying thing. But I think there's scope for maybe different styles of that sort of ilk. I think inside the hills.
Yeah.
But man, I don't know, not really. Menthea.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Let's
We've
get
got
it
some
up. Just
Menthea up
planted in
around.
Macclesfield just recently. Yeah.
It's interesting. So, what is your sort of take as another sort of, especially someone that's literally grown up with a vineyard, of how we say the word? It's a confusing word. It means non-homogeneous, but basically it means that you know, the Adelaide Hills ain't the same. Like you go, it takes a long while to drive.
Oh hell yeah.
From north to south.
Yeah.
You know, it's like an hour and a bit at least.
sort of thing. Yeah.
So
from Kaipo to Kersbrook, it's a lot of ground.
Well, I suppose that is. It's Kuiper to Kersbrook, isn't it? What's the differences between the hills that you've noticed?
Oh, I guess just so much. Yeah, geographical change, mesoclimates, microclimates. It's differing soils. Even when you get on different aspects. I mean, the Amadio vineyard's a classic example. Like you jump out the back of the the vineyard and it's like quartzite. You go to the other side of the vineyard and it's sandy loam. So, it's just within the Adelaide Hills so much variation, but then within each massive vineyard like the Amadio, there's so much variation as well. So I think that's why there's so much scope to play with different varieties, and then different winemakers.
And forge your own sort of path. And that's the appealing thing about Adelaide Hills wine, just in general, is that you can. I mean, we have no appellation, we have no it's creative freedom, right? So if you were to travel, if you're in Tuscany and you were to travel an hour and a half, would you still be in Tuscany?
Yes and no. No, whenever enough, yes.
Not really, but would you be on a different vineyard, a different appellation?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Because I've been working in Montalcino and I've been working in Montecucco, and basically 30 minutes while you are in a different
and they're
appellation,
different
wine.
And they taste completely different. Adelaide Hills is so the appellation itself, in reference to that, is so juvenile. It's so young. You could break up Adelaide Hills quite significantly, I feel. At least Northern Hills, Mid Hills and Southern Hills. And what we actually see, something quite amazing, I'm not sure if you've ever heard about this, about how the Murray River used to flow. And sort of like the receding sea. So all of this area used to be underwater. And if you actually go up north about 8 hours from here, you can go to Lake Gairdner, which is it's a giant lake. It's got no water though. It's all salt. and that used to be like basically the old inland sea that receded. And that's as it receded and the Murray River itself, freshwater river, brackish water, moved basically behind the Adelaide Hills. It left all the soils that sort of run all the way through, and they're all alluvial. So they're all alluvial, meaning I guess riverborne soils. And so at the top you have all the heavy shit would drop out first. So all your granite, West Range and Basket Range and stuff, it becomes a little more clay, silt, starts dry, and then you kind of eventually get to Kaipo and even sort of the top of like northern McLaren Vale, and it's all just sand. It's the old sort of mouth, and that's what kind of floats, and it's typically the last stuff, and it has sort of deposited itself all in the McLaren Vale. Beautiful, beautiful place. But I don't know why sort of like you have a look at actually the spread sort of Basket Range, and we start to see like that's where I would want to see Petit Verdot, you know, Merlot, Cabernet Franc. I just reckon that'll be a dope place to grow those varieties. And indeed, guys like Brian Crozer from Petaluma and stuff planted shitloads of Merlot prior to thinking about Pinot or anything. Then you start getting down south where it's, you know, sandier, you know, bit better even sunlight exposure. You start getting Syrah, Grenache, those Rhone varieties as well. The fact that we can pretty much grow all the varieties between France and Italy in an hour.
it's a big playground.
But you're doing some really fun stuff as well. So what have we got? What have we got here? Should we start?
Let's kick off with our Grillo. It'd be amazing in McLaren Vale, and it's probably not grown enough in McLaren Vale. I think there's a new wave coming through. You guys had Brad Cameron on recent Camwell. I think he's talking about planting some Grillo. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's a variety that just suits Australia, South Australia so well. You know, like it just thrives. It just you know, loves the heat. It retains its acidity so well. So yeah, we were really lucky. We got this out of Uradla, so Piccadilly Valley Parish Hill Vineyard.
Wicked!
Wow,
so he grows like he's an amazing grower. So he grows like 2 ton. Just 2 ton of every. I mean,
it's
not
like
even.
It's a picnic of a vineyard. Like there's just these 5 rows of, you know, it's all Italian varieties, but it's a small vineyard, but there's so much diversity in that vineyard. So we were really lucky. We got Inzolia and Grillo.
Inzolia.
So that's the sample.
Is it Inzolia Tuscan? Is Inzolia Tuscan?
In Tuscany, it's called Ansonica.
And Insonica.
Inzolia in Sicily, but same variety.
So his cuttings came from Sicily. So it's
taste. Flavors and expressions?
Yeah, definitely, but especially with Sergi, I've seen even a lot of similarity, and that is even one of the reasons why I moved here, like to see. I saw a lot of
different grape
Mediterranean variety, and
that
I
is
wanted
so
to
odd,
see what,
isn't it?
You know, they were
that
doing here.
you could see more in Australia than you could actually out of living in the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
So when did you hear about Australia doing Mediterranean varieties? What was the I think that's cool. That it's like we've got an international reputation. How was it going?
Kirsty, I'll tell the backstory. So Kirsty, my partner, was pregnant at the time. It was a vintage baby. So Tom was born in March. I think I put this ad up on Gumtree in January.
Well, you weren't kidding. You weren't even kidding.
No. Like, stupid winemaker. Just let's have a baby during vintage.
No. I'm sorry. The Gumtree ad thing.
It was an ad on Gumtree.
Oh wow.
Yeah. We met in McLaren.
That's awesome.
So we caught up at the McLaren Vale Hotel, had a few pub squashes, and that was our casual interview. And she hasn't left in 3 years?
Yeah,
so,
first vintage 2017.
Is it good, boss?
Yeah, amazing. No. I always say otherwise I could live again, but I didn't.
Well, you can't at the moment, you know, with COVID.
I can't now. Yeah, it's true. But no, I'm very happy and glad to work with him and his family. Amazing people.
So what was your take on the
quite actually amazing being
It sounds like a marketing spin, but it's actually true this year.
No, it's true. Yeah. But yeah, we're here for sure. But yeah, definitely better than the first vintage I did here. Was a little bit of a joke. Good weather. I was expecting to be in the heat. What's going on?
I was trying to say, Danny, this is not normal for us. This rain is not normally. You know, we had millipedes crawling out of ferments. It's like this is just so wet and.
17 was like a contrast to 16. 16 was very hot.
Yeah.
Does it affect you guys at all? Did the smoke sort of go out?
Outcomes unfortunately. The Beaulieu's Lovey Vineyard got totally wiped out, which we took our Pinot and Chardonnay from.
course,
And
out of
then,
Woodside, I'd be really
and
young.
then we
Yeah.
don't have any Pinot Grigio as well. So yeah, hence the sort of change up in.
So if you
portfolio
have
this
stock
year.
of those wines at the moment, everyone else should stock up right now.
They're gone.
Ah!
No, sorry,
Still have
so,
it.
that's a bad part. The Pinot Noir and Chardonnay are still around, so yeah, stock up.
So I was when I was working in Barolo, it was the wettest vintage they had ever had in 2014, and they were all in really good spirits. I was quite surprised, and then I realised why. See, in Barolo, something really special happens, and Barbaresco as well. When they have of course, they have the white truffle there.
Oh yeah.
And so if they have a really dry year, they have amazing wines. If they have a very wet year, they have amazing truffles. And they happen just, you know, if only we could get truffles to grow. Have you ever looked into growing truffles on the family farm?
No, but yeah, maybe I need to
Throw
get
a
a
couple
dog called Truffles, and we'll start from there.
Yeah. He's back home. He's been a naughty boy before. But this Grillo's fantastic.
Yeah,
this
brilliant.
is really
Yeah.
really fantastic.
Thank you,
This
yeah.
is really gluggable.
Yeah, so from Parish Hill Vineyard, 2 days on skins, came in with some amazing acid. I think the pH was, you know, for the wine nerds, 2.95. So yeah, we left it on skins. It came out around 3.1. Yeah, just sort of basket, but it's just it's one
So pretty.
one barrel, one VC, and yeah, we're just going to put the two components together, and it's so aromatic though, isn't it? It's just so pretty.
It doesn't feel like it's like a skin contact wine though. It's like and obviously
It's
be able
not-
to handle
It's
ferment.
not phenolic. Yeah.
No.
So
It's anything but phenolic actually.
yeah, it's just pretty. Yeah, and just that's why I think it goes so well in Australia. Just the acid, you know, it doesn't need a lot of water. Amazing grow up there. I think he just he knows every vine off by heart. He go through the little leaf blower, sort of get through to his, instead of leaf plucking, he's got this little handheld leaf blower. So
Yeah.
That's badass.
Yeah,
That's
That is
badass.
that is so badass. That is so good. That is
Yeah.
fantastic. Well,
Yeah,
should we move on to the next
Yeah, let's
next one?
do
We got, if you'd like to, I do have Corky here. Corky McCorkface. As christened by the dad bod Spittoon. So what have we got here? Inzolia or Insonica?
Well, yeah,
Or
we
Inzolia,
started-
Inzolia, I guess.
Yeah, Inzolia. Yeah. Do you want to talk about this one, Danny?
Yeah.
So I can say what we do in
Yeah.
Tuscany, like,
What are you doing? Trust me with this, because will it be bottled like this as well, or will it be filtered? Or is it gonna?
No, we're not going to filter.
No.
Just gonna leave it,
won't-
let it settle
probably
out
won't be
naturally?
as cloudy as that. We'll just cold
Yeah.
settle a little bit, and
That is.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, we don't filter or fine with our whites, so yeah.
Yeah, with this
Ooh,
we left it a little bit longer. Got picked like 2 weeks after the Grillo, because we were trying to leave it like to get the skin quite gold. It's like a bit for me like Vermentino. I like to get the Ansonica in soda
Yeah.
when it's getting a little bit gold.
Fiano's a little bit like that as well.
Yeah.
As well, like it likes to. It's almost like you can tell when it's ripe just by looking at it, as opposed to having to constantly taste it all the time.
Yeah, and then because the inside of the berry like it's very crunchy. Sometimes when you eat it, it's like a table grape. It is not
Really?
ready, and then start to change
Are they
and
big-
get a
are they
little
big
bit more
grapes?
How
fleshy.
big ovals?
Yeah, and oval and long, and they are
Really?
like quite crunchy, like table. And when
And the
it's
leaves
ready,
are like huge monsters.
yeah,
It's a
and there are
quirky
like
variety.
like hole in the leaves.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but I think it's lovely. It's just we gave it like we picked, and then we left just 1 day on.
Feed's interrupted. Oh dear.
Oh, we're back. Never mind.
We're back. This, I know it's one of those funny things, right? Because like in a world like we have at the moment, we see an amazing array of phenolic wines. So this is like, what you guys do is so, I don't have the right word for it. It's classy, refined. Like it's good wine. It's
Thank you.
really,
Thank you.
really
Yeah.
good quality wine.
I guess it's a bit of a step into the natural white. We're not natural by any means,
Yeah.
but we play around
Yeah,
with
but
skin
it's
contact
not-
and low sulfur, and then it's a bit of
But I would, on most days of the week, like drink this wine.
Yeah.
No, seriously, it's utterly amazing. It's
Thank
probably like
you.
it reminds me of Tuscan and Sonica, as opposed to Inzolia. I know a lot of like, not to say that there's tons brought into this country of Sicilian Insolia.
No, well, I think Andrew brought this cutting in himself, like the vine material, whereas the Grillo is a little bit of an unknown. Like, I mean, his has been DNA tested and that is Grillo, but there was that whole mix-up, you know, years ago with the Slanka Mancabella, a bit like Albrinho and
We
Sauvignon.
tried that wine.
Yeah.
I'd never had such a fucked wine before. It is, oh man, it's such a, and I've never
insipid.
Go find a fox, pick it up and just smell it. No, it's nothing like that, but no, it has a really, it's like smelling guava juice more than it is like smelling grape juice. Yeah. But I've never seen a grape variety that wants to crop at 30 tons per acre normally.
Okay, yeah.
But you just know that if there was going to be a grape variety like that, it's either going to come out of Italy or one of the Balkan countries. You just know that that's where it's going to come from.
I think Serbian origins, wasn't it?
Some sort of Serbian variety. Yeah, absolutely incredible. But so this is again, mate. You've outdone yourself. I mean, do you have much of this? I mean, you got shitloads, right? You got like, you know.
Yeah. 30 dozen. So yeah. Let's not get too carried away.
So much wine.
Yeah.
30 dozen.
Let's just say it was a few rows at Andrew's place, but it's a good outcome.
So is this your first release of this variety?
Yeah.
So not out yet. Okay.
Sorry, it's not out. No. We're just hoping to get it next year as well. So.
So we've got a couple of questions that have popped up. Lockie George is chiming in. Good to see you again, Lockie. Whose was Foxy VC? Coriol do a good example. I was talking about Slanka Mancabella was Foxy. I'm not too sure. Did Coriol do an Insolia or Insonica?
No, they planted Grillo, but I think it got mixed up in the Slanka Manca, so they ripped it out. So yeah.
Oh, did they? They might have actually released one.
Did they? Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Oh, okay.
Well, Lockie, Coriol is, I don't know for sure, but if I were to make a wine that wouldn't be Foxy with that grape variety, QA23 yeast. It would be a very long, slow, cool ferment. There would carbon would be involved. I assure you, probably about 1 gram a litre.
You're going full wine nerd.
Anyway, Terry, how is the sound for everyone at home? Because we are using a new microphone. We are obviously kind of a little bit further away than we usually would be. So I'd like to just make sure that you guys can actually hear us. Writing notes and tuning in. Cheers, Ruth. Thanks so much. How was that allowed? How was what allowed, Terry? No Coriol to Bella. Yeah, I had a case of 2016. 2016, I wonder if it was Slanka Mancabella or if they'd just make a wine called Bella. That would be a really great way to sell Slanka Mancabella because Slank isn't a good way. I mean, I wouldn't call a wine called Slank.
I think the only ones that ever bottled it was Amato Vino in
Amato Vino?
Amato Vino in WA, but I didn't know there was anything else out there in a commercial product. So there you go. I'd be keen to see if Coriol will do it. But
this reminds me of Italian examples. This is really good.
It's because
this is like
this is osmosis.
This is total party juice. I could smash a lot.
Yeah.
Park.
Yeah.
Bit of bocce. Good times.
All right, moving onwards and upwards. We've got a cheeky red.
Let's do this.
Yep. All right. Because then we have to play a game of blind tasting together. Of course.
So yeah, we bottled this yesterday. It just hasn't. The labels haven't arrived yet. So
it is like this is bottle ready.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. Yep. Yeah. Cool. What do we got?
Preservative free. So this is our first year venturing into no sulfur territory. So we're calling it the Iberica. So a bit of an Iberian Peninsula red blend.
Ooh, I like that.
Grenache dominant. I think it's about 90% Grenache. Yeah. We threw in some Tempranillo and then Monastrell, Mataro, Mourvedre.
Yep.
So it's just a very fresh, juicy, if we
look at hit it out of the park. Wait, zero sulfur.
Zero sulfur.
You're insane.
Maybe in 2 weeks' time we'll feel the same.
Do you have 30 dozen of this as well?
No, a little bit more.
You're really insane. Is like the ability to be able to capture. Like it's funny because most people chiming in aren't winemakers. They don't know the smell of like fresh juice post ferment. Well, it's not juice, it's wine. And this has captured that so remarkably well. In fact, you know, I'm going to say the Graciano and this are not so far removed in style. But like this kind of makes me feel like this is the indie punk version of this right
it's
here.
Like a fruit teaser, like it just.
Well, this is more like pop music. You know, that's you know. This is a bit of Justin Bieber going on right now, but you know, I feel
like degrade that wine so
I feel this could come out of like 90s Seattle grunge scene or something like that. This is certainly fun. Noah's looking at me like, because Noah's I'm musically like retarded, and everyone that knows me knows that too. No more than Noah.
Worst music taste ever.
Yeah. But I mean, you see the difference. Like, there's something here that is just wild. There's something here that's just full of expression. That's super fun. How have you felt moving into this realm? It's your first time that you've been
nervous. You know, I don't know how it's going to evolve.
How have you felt?
You know,
weird.
Just like after sending it to bottle, you're like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Like, he knows me. I am always more traditional, so I was a little bit like worried.
Yeah. So we did a pet nat last year and sort of tested waters, and this is, I guess, our first real sort of jump in the deep end with preservative free.
Yeah.
But yeah, we thought, why not? Like, I think Grenache really responds well to no sulfur, whereas some other varieties we've seen, Pinot and Syrah, like, they really benefit from some sulfur. Like, they sort of look brighter and fresher. But yeah, we thought, just get it in bottle, trap all those aromatics in, and let the party begin. So yeah.
The tannin though, the tannin extraction on this is fantastic. It's not full, it's just svelte.
It's a bit of whole bunch, so it's probably about, what, 20% whole bunch, I think, in the Grenache.
But it's not even sinewy or green, it's just really, it's like someone's grabbing my teeth and just grabbing silk and just kind of rubbing it over that. It's just, it's fantastic.
I think the basket press also, like,
just a little bit aeration, you know, going on as well.
But, you know, really old vines in Blewett Spring, so Marcello Brini, sandy soils. I think the vines are about sort of 50 years old, so we didn't really have to do too much to it. Like, it's just an easy wine to make. Like, it sounds stupid, but we just try not to mess it up. So,
this is the Mike brilliance that I just want to like shine a light on, because this is not cheap fruit.
No, not anymore. It used to be, but the last 3 years, Grenache prices have gone crazy. Yeah.
So it's not cheap fruit. It's a really great vineyard. It's on amazing sandy soils. It's 50-year-old vines. And you've gone and just put it in a bottle with no sulfur in it. And I'm just like, it's in utter admiration, to be honest, because if there's ever a wine that you want to try that is sulfur-free, I think it's something like that. When's this going to be released? When can people expect
we're just waiting on labels, so 6 weeks probably. Yeah.
Label. Laura's in the back there just going, label, people.
Labels take longer than the wine.
They do.
Whole case, you can literally make and bottle this wine quicker than the label can be derived.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right, so we only have about 12 minutes left. We're not going to let you guys leave without choosing a wine off the back wall. Danny, would you do the honors? Any of these wines, I don't know what they are. In fact, we've just kind of like, they could come from anywhere in the world. They could come from Australia, they could come from Italy, Europe, anywhere. I don't know what they are, you guys don't know what they are, but we're going to try to guess them together. So if you want to grab a bottle off the back and give it to Noah.
Just one?
Anyone at all.
Please, no more Indian wine.
Terry, where can we get it? Now! He's keen on this wine now! You know, I'm sure if you were to send an email through to Man and Cherry Wines, their website is linked in the description above. I'm sure they'll be more than willing to sell you a whole bunch of wines with no labels on them. For the
pre-release is
good. Like pre-release, absolutely. You can lock in and like I said, 30 dozen. 30 dozen is what we call half a pallet. It's actually technically just less than half a pallet. And that I assure you that is not a lot of wine.
It's like, not an economical model to go by, but it's a fun model. So
it's a fun model. These are really fun wines as well, and these are really like, especially when you, if you're not into that, you know, hardcore natty scene, you don't want wines that might on some days resemble vinegar, or might be, you know, fantastic as well. These wines will always be awesome. These wines will always be really, really fun to drink, and just really easy to get into. That's what I've really sort of admired about you guys, is like what you guys do is make wine really fun and approachable for a lot of people, just globally. And that's something that we believe in as well, because like, wine's too complex already. it's one thing to make a complex wine. It's one thing to make it complex for people, if that makes any sense. I think this wine is red though. All right, let's have
Too many
have a
balls
go.
in the air to play that game at the moment.
Smelly Cheese Shop, Valerie, thank you so much. We had loved having you on last night, Valerie. Enjoying pastafarian while listening to you and working at the same time. Pretty pleasant. Well, it was very pleasant to have you on last night, Valerie. And I'll tell you what, with all the cheese that we had left over, we did indeed make the ultimate cheese toasty today. I assure you of that. It took me a while to try to figure out the mixture, but I believe it had cheeses from Italy, was it Milwaukee?
Yeah.
Wisconsin?
It was Wisconsin, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And Adelaide Hills. That's the match. That's the Trinity, the Holy Trinity. Italy, Wisconsin, Adelaide Hills cheese in a toasty.
That's it, yeah.
It's,
That's a good job.
It's the most decadent thing I've done in a long time, Valerie. Thank you very much. Hey, great new teas, Mike. Coming in from Jane.
What's that?
Great new teas.
Oh,
t-shirts.
oh, sorry, I thought you meant my teeth. I haven't got my teeth. Veneers. T-shirts, yeah, thank you. Jump online.
Dare Wilson may not need the labels. I don't think this needs label. I think you should just sell it by the dozen.
Okay.
And whack a
hey.
thing. Don't drop the price. I think people will be willing to. What do you? Have you decided on that yet in terms of price point for this wine? Have you had a?
Let's say 25 retail
Mate,
and
totally.
something
Yes,
around there.
yes,
Yeah, 25
yes,
to 30.
Yes.
Yep.
And this is one of those wines that you probably want to do by buy a case of it because it is sold for free. It will sort of mature over like a quicker period of time.
Yep.
And that's actually where this wine is at the moment. I think you're going to get a solid 12 months out of it. I think the point of a sold-free wine is that you want a solid, at a minimum, 12 months out of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to take 12 months to get through this wine though. I think I will consume it at a greater rate.
It's gone by Christmas. Hopefully. Yeah.
You've got to put it in smaller bottles and giving people straws.
You're a marketing man.
All right, let's play this. All right,
let's
so
do this. This nice little Tari tobacco thing going on.
Yeah.
Terry's gonna email you guys tomorrow. Expect an email.
Okay, Terry.
We've created a monster. Let's sell all of this on Premier. Let's sell all of this before it's even available. Yes, I like this. I like this a lot. It will beat the label. Hey guys, collectively we can do this. We can do this, I'm sure. Let's beat the label people in delivering the labels and sell the wine out anyway. I mean, I'll take a dozen.
It's like a
That's
Mike
fine.
Whitney Who Dares Wins
Who
challenge.
Dares Wins challenge, yeah, to all of you. To all of you. All right, so wow, okay.
Wow. Okay.
We have had wine from India on the back wall.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
I kid you
It
not.
wasn't any good, by the way.
I mean, it wasn't terrible. You could drink it, but it tastes like shit. It's like a Mick Dundee quote or anything. So, all right, I'm going to shove the Terry goes. We could just print our own damn labels. You know what? This is an amazing idea. I really reckon we're onto something here. If they're willing to release the actual design file, you should print your own labels. I think it's fantastic. There's a bit of DIY going on. Oh, this is too good. All right, so the comments are down. I can't see what's going on. We're gonna Noah's gonna let you know what we're tasting, and we're gonna try our damn well best to screw up where it's actually coming from.
We're going place or
New World, Old
New
World
World?
is the
Okay.
first question.
Damn, this is difficult. This is
Yeah, this
really
is
tough.
tough.
I'm gonna go Old World, but a newer Vogue producer, Old World.
On Vogue.
On Vogue. On Vogue, I like that.
There we go.
I like it. It's actually a 2018 no sulfur Pinot Noir. France, the Languedoc. Ooh.
Yeah, it's definitely got some nice tertiary notes going on.
Yeah.
Smells like fresh coffee. Awesome.
This is really hard to do, this one. I've said that last couple of nights every time I've stuffed it up. So, you know, I hope that actually wins me some dignity points.
Is it India a New World?
Yeah. We tried to deliberate over
you?
what
Okay.
it was actually quite hard. Japan,
Okay.
Old or New World.
Okay.
I'm actually going to go New World because
Okay.
I feel like this could be like an aged Pinot from Vic.
Okay.
perhaps.
He's narrowing it down.
Okay.
That's what I'm sort of. I'm sort of in that space. Yeah.
Daniella?
No, I would say New World.
New World?
New World.
Yeah.
That's Old World.
Oh.
Mike wins the points.
No.
Mike's on one.
Wow.
Very good. Are we going France, Germany, Austria?
Shit.
Any Wire fans at home?
Well, it's not. Can't be German from like the deep south, like Black Forest.
We're
way.
going Balkan area. No, I'm going to go France.
I'm gonna go France as well.
France.
France, Daniella?
France.
Austria.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
If this is from Burgenland again, I'm gonna be so pissed off. Because the last couple of nights we've had, Burgenland, Kumtal, Buckow as like the choices. This is from Burgenland again. I'm gonna be so because I've never seen. This is actually a really well constructed wine. Like you would say, new sort of on vogue producer. Like acidity's in the right place, fruit's in the right place. It's got a bit of age.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't have a bit of age, then there's a fault in the wine because there's like pre-mox going on. There's premature oxidation going. I think we all agree it's got a lot of age.
Yeah.
I
It's got some
think,
life ahead of it
yeah.
as well, like some nice
Yeah.
fruit. That's just
I feel a nice acidity.
Yeah.
Like,
I just can't see
Austria.
like the variety because is it maybe Zweigelt?
We can just skip straight to variety.
No, I want to do region.
You want to do region? Do you want me to give you the same ones I gave you last night? Kamtan, Luakau, Burgenland?
You know what? I'm just gonna say it's Burgenland because it's Burgenland.
Am I pushing the boundaries of knowledge of Austrian wine?
no, very minimal. So I'm going to lock that in.
It's Burgenland.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
This is like basically where all this is. I already know the importer for the. I don't know what the wine is, but there's like this one notorious importer called Real Wines.
Yeah.
And awesome, Seb Crowther, fantastic, and we bought a bunch of wines from. Everything's from Burgenland though. Just branch out, do something different.
I'm just going to point out that this is not from real wine. So don't hate on the guys that are giving us these awesome mixed dozens per hour.
Oh no, Burgenland.
This is from Lo-Fi.
Oh, okay. Well, cut from the same cloth. I see.
Is it got a family member on the front label?
Is it like a Gutogau or something like that? A bit of big label energy, maybe.
You're on the right track.
On the right track. Klaus Pressinger, maybe. Klaus. Variety though.
Okay, we're going to go Blau, Saint Laurent, Weigelt. Saint Laurent, is that how it's pronounced? Saint Laurent? Yeah.
I'm going to go Zweigelt.
I'm going to Zweigelt as well because
I've tried the Handorf Hills, I think. That's the only real Zweigelt
it's
I
the
know,
only
so,
thing that feels like Pinot. It feels like Pinot because the tannin on this is minuscule. There's no tannin there, no structure there. It's quite appealing, very drinkable. Saint Laurent could be.
Are you playing as well?
I think Laura's just like trying to throw in like a bit of a. That's a double bluff. I'm gonna go not Saint Laurent because Laura's trying to yeah, I know what's going on right now. He's gonna go Saint Laurent. She was trying to help you.
What are you looking at?
Zweigelt.
Zweigelt? You looking at Zweigelt? You guys looking at Zweigelt? It'd be really funny if it was Blau Frankish. It's Zweigelt.
There was a bit of red herring being thrown in there. Okay.
And vintage.
Yeah, I reckon this is the fun one, vintage.
Yeah,
Three options.
15, 11, 07.
oh wow.
Going back.
15. Is it a 5-year-old wine?
Yeah.
Is it a 9-year-old wine? Or is it a?
I would say 5, no more than that. Otherwise,
It's a 5-year-old wine. I'm going 2011. I reckon it's a 9-year-old wine.
Okay.
So glad I put the red herring. Since 2015.
No!
How can I push this?
You reckon that's 5 years old? I reckon it's older. Wow.
I don't know. Does it?
No,
I don't know. Is it a tannic variety? It doesn't. I don't imagine it is.
The smell.
The primary fruit is still quite there. I still think it's about 5. But yeah, you can still start to see those tertiaries to really
yeah.
start to come into their own.
Yeah.
But you know, 5 years are still a good acidity record still.
It's well made.
Yeah.
It's well balanced.
Yeah.
Alright, so producer.
Producers, yeah, I only know the two really. It's a good
Between
smell.
Klaus
President.
and Gutogau.
Yeah.
The Klaus.
House.
Klaus.
Klaus is in the house.
Oh wow, it is, right. So this is a BLE wine.
Absolutely.
This is a BLE wine. Ooh, hello. Richard, have you got a full glass? Oh, shame. Yep, no, Lockie George is straight in. He's like, Klaus's BLE. So we have this, this is a bit of a funny, weird game that we play. So basically, have you heard of hashtag SomLife?
Yes.
Yeah, basically
sommeliers
sommeliers that like to brag that they're sommeliers. And wine people that like to brag that they're wine people. Sometimes you would go to a restaurant, if someone wants to just like make a power move, they'll crack open a bottle of, maybe we've got like a bottle of Grange, like a bottle of like, we say it's got big label energy. And we actually have a little graphic here for big label. And it is decided on by the crowd because the crowd decides what is BLE or not. And this is well and truly, it's probably, the amount of light that's being spread on this label means that it can't actually be seen, so I'm so terribly sorry, but I'll send a photo.
It's got
Had a bit of love.
It looks like
a bit of love.
bright white, but this is actually an amazing, amazing producer.
And like, it's not like one of those. It's Dion Pipe. It's not one of those BLEs that costs you $200 a bottle. This retails at $40 aroundabouts.
Yeah, right.
So it's a really good buy.
This is BLE on a budget.
So any South Australian people, juice traders and left of centre bottle shop stock this.
LOC and juice traders, absolutely.
Hit them up.
Yeah, delicious.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We are literally we're overtime, a minute overtime. Guys, thank you so much, seriously, for sharing some of the new wines as well, and especially that. Well done. In fact, all of these. Gorilla is exciting to see. The Inzoli is probably the nicest one I've tried out of Australia for sure. Not that my opinion actually matters much, to be honest, but I just haven't tried. Firstly, there's not a lot, but there's not a lot just in general out of the New World that would typically remind me of something out of Italy, and that does. That is just like, that's remarkable. And even like the just the lees on it.
Yeah.
It's actually really quite fun. It kind of balances that acidity really well. I like that. But by far, like, guys, this is like, we are about to head towards one of the greatest celebrations in human history. And if you don't have a case of this, then you're missing out. I'm just saying.
If it had a label, it'd have big label energy.
If it had a label, it would have big label energy. I definitely feel this is absolutely great. Mike, Daniela, thank you so much.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for having
much.
us. Yeah.
Thank you.
Guys, we'll be back tomorrow night, same time as always, with a very exciting new guest. We have, what's tomorrow? Wednesday. We have Sam Scott, the great, the original, the OG Fiano man, along with Coriolan, but the Adelaide Hills Fiano man, I guess, and one of the most amazing winemakers that I've ever met. But guys, thank you so much. Catch you tomorrow. Have a great night.